All right, let's get into light. The green light that is at the center of the rainbow, because God's throne glows emerald, it tells us, and emerald is a green light. So let's connect some things together, because we have chlorophyll in the nature around us, and it is very similar to the hemoglobin in our body that carries the oxygen around. All right. So the chlorophyll, the hemoglobin, that's connected to the DNA. The DNA is connected to light, and according to the National Aeronautics Space Administration, there would be no life without the green light. That it is the reason why we all exist. Okay. Now, the green light is an angle of the light spectrum, and we can see this with a prism and such, as for an example, to break up the light. And also the things we see reflect the light, because it's condensed matter. It's absorbing those particles and it's reflecting that light out, or that color that we see out. Okay. And green is opposite of red. And you like live in hell on earth, but it's a red spectrum, and we can see this when we close our eyes. It's bright as red. When you go outside, you look at the sun, it's red until it adjusts to the white. Either way, all the green around us is reflecting into this world, and it's counteracting the red light around us. All right, in one aspect, and they say the green light is kind of the key to everything, and it's the pathway to God, because it's at that center of the rainbow. And since God's throne glows green and his throne's in the middle, that's where you can get those kinds of things. Okay. So with the green light, I got a couple notes here. The light is photons and waves. And since the photon is tied to the messenger, all right, and the RNA is a messenger for the DNA, and that RNA thing that came out with the armies that gathered, that Trojan horse, the rib that was taken out and covered with flesh, it's going to send complications with the messengers, okay? And it's that, it's RNA is a translator for the DNA. Okay, and I told you about the figs, the balls. And I told you, beware of the women who give suck in those days, and you need to act like whatever. Made a little funny video warning you. You need to ask people if they've had that before you get busy. Anyways, so it's all going together. So either way, the hemoglobin, that's kind of our internal green, but we don't see the green inside of us, right? And we're that living earth, and then we have these green leaves and this green world all over inside of us. But by the time it gets out here, it turns into the red state, and we got sunburn and all this other stuff. And other ways that we see green is in the bile, whatever. And time that comes out, it's shit. All right. So the DNA is encrypted, they say, and it reads like a code, which we've seen the DNA code, and there's molecular codes and all these things. And the AGTC, which is the 4 base types of the DNA, in an acronym that connects us to the human cells and the plant cells. Okay. So, the DNA code, the DON, N, these things are stacked in multiple levels. Okay. But the green light is connected to the Bud Light. It's connected to your Christmas tree. Without Christmas, the world would not exist, in a matter of speaking, because they tell you, like, they make this much money during this time of year. So we kind of need Christmas to exist as that capitalistic system. They need these holidays every month for these capitalistic ways to keep the beast alive. Otherwise, nobody would care about that shit. All right. For the most part. The green light is connected to cannabis as well. Okay? We are light beings. And when we consume alcohol, when we consume food, drink, when we consume cannabis, these things go inside of us and then they come out. Okay? But they come out through us. So when there's basically different messages in plants. And in order to hear those messages, or there's messages in food, or messages in drinks or whatever, alcohol is the most easily one to understand, because when you drink alcohol, you start getting looser. And you start just flowing. Okay, so also you can get ideas or whatever. A lot of people, they use alcohol for, people use things for different purposes. Okay, so there's some people, artists or whatever, they'll use alcohol as a creation tool to get things flowing. So when you have ideas, when you have things just come to you, it's the things from the world communicating in you, through you. We are the crystal. We are the crystal. We are the members of the body. Okay, so when we partake this world, the light that we partake, it becomes us and comes out through us. So this is where we can learn knowledge through mushrooms, or through cannabis, or through tobacco, or whatever, right? That's why the shamans used to use the plants, because you learn from the plants. And Jesus was that Most High, and he did use plants. And some plants will make it to where you don't want to eat. So this is a great thing to use when you're doing a fast or whatever. There's a time and place for everything. The God molecule is known as DMT. DMT equals serotonin in the brain. Okay? And serotonin helps hallucinations and helps other things go on, but this is in our brain naturally. But we can partake it through plants and through other things, and we can even tap into this in different ways naturally, one being breath work or whatever. But either way, we also have the CB1 and CB2 receptors for the cannabinoid system. And every mammal and whatever pretty much has a cannabinoid receptor. So all these things are there to teach us something and to bring us something. When we consume cannabis, cannabis is an antigen plant. It absorbs everything around it, okay? And every seed is different. And when you take one seed and you make a clone of it, you take that clone and you give it to 2 different places, even be right next door or down the street or in a whole nother country, it will be a different plant. There will be different things brought out by the grower, by the soil, by the bottled nutrients, by the love, by the environment, whatever's going on. It's the terroir. It's absorbing the earth around it. So when we consume cannabis, since it is that antigen plant, we can learn knowledge from it. It is one of the first hard copies of the original tree of knowledge and tree of life, and that's why it has over 20,000 uses, and all the flavonoids and all the terpenes and all these things that pretty much exist in our foods and nature and whatever, right? Leather, rubber, you name it, gasoline, Okay, everything exists in that plant. So that's that original one. And then we can see how that original one drops its fruit, and it has seeds made after itself, and it starts creating this different type of whatever, and then it can be gathered up and made into the Garden of Eden later on. And then I'll get into another video about some other things with cannabis. But when we consume these things, we are the light, using a light, consuming a light, and bringing it into us. So these plants are coming into us, and they use us to communicate through. Okay, the drinks use us to communicate through. The grocery stores, the B system, it has its foods to communicate through. Okay, it has advertising to communicate through, to control light. We are light, controlled by light, exchanging light. When we shake hands with people, we exchange light. When you go get haircut or whatever, you're having whoever rub all over you, massage, you're exchanging light. All right, that's why when you get all sparked, you get all electrified up and shit, right? But these plants are, that's why they call them teacher plants. The mushrooms, the cannabis, the ayahuasca, the toad piss, whatever you're into. All right, these hallucinogens are outside coming in through us to teach us. Okay? And everything is connected, and everything is here to connect us and to teach us. And the way we learn, we can learn from out there, or we can learn from in here. And the way we learn from in here is consuming the things with the spiritual components, or knowing how the spirits work, and knowing how the terroir works, and the farms work, and the living nutrients and organics and all those different things. Okay, because you're eating life, and you're eating it's like when you can taste the love in food. It's all energy and exchanges and whatever. Okay, and it's not what the Christian church is taught. They're actually taught the exact opposite. It's because it's to take their power away. They are to remain powerless as sheep, as the beast on the field, because it says, behold, the man has become as one of us. The man, there's a difference between man and male. Okay? But there was a man in the garden under the Lord God, that first man, but that man was made among the beasts first. He was made highest of the beasts, and he got the name of the beast, but he was still locked in the garden. He didn't have access out there to true life and the knowledge of good and evil and those types of things. So that's where Jesus is coming in and giving people life again, and saying, come out of that walled garden. You can eat out here. You can live out here. Eve is Jesus, who's taking a hit for everybody. And Adam is the satanic side. All right, the Lord God and God are the ones that's controlling the male and female, and the man and woman, and both of those are Jesus, Satan, depending what side of the spectrum they're on. One brings freedom, one gives positive, one gives negative, one gives bondage, or sometimes the negative is positive, sometimes positive is negative. So the plants help give us knowledge, and they communicate through us. Okay? It's very simple. We're all connected through these ways. We get our ideas and whatever through the plants.